Here's something special, something that flows deep, beyond words, beyond logic, into the very core of your being. Because as you hear this, you might begin to notice something shifting, something opening, a door that's always been there, but perhaps, just perhaps, you hadn't quite noticed before. And it's funny, isn't it, how the mind, that mind, the one that thinks it knows, the one that tells stories about who you are, what you must be, what you must fear. It's always been a character in a story. But the story, it only exists because something is watching. And as you wonder, just for a moment, about that, you might find yourself stepping back just a little and noticing, who's watching? Where are you watching from? And if you can see it, if you can step back and notice it, then are you really it? Or is there something more behind, beyond, wider, deeper? And isn't it fascinating that the more you begin to relax into that space, the more you start to feel it, that vast, quiet awareness stretching out into infinity, like standing at the edge of the universe and realizing the edge is not an end, it's a beginning. Because beyond the unknown is the unknown, and beyond the unknown is the infinite. And something inside you already knows this. It's always known this, because there was a time before the character had a name, before the mind had a story, before the fear of the unknown ever existed. And that part of you is still here, watching. And as you let that knowing settle in, as you feel it expanding, you might realize the space where fear once lived is now filled with something else, freedom. And the more you notice it, the more you embrace it, the more it becomes you. And isn't that interesting? And as you sit there hearing these words, something begins to shift. Not in the way you might expect, but in the way that feels inevitable, natural, as if a door is opening inside your mind. A door that was always there, waiting quietly. Because you've always known, haven't you, that beyond the edges of what you call you, beyond the familiar thoughts, the familiar feelings, the familiar fears, there's something more, something vast, something free. And isn't it interesting how the mind clings to what it knows, as if certainty were safety? But safety is not the same as truth, is it? Because the truth is, the character you thought you were, the name, the history, the opinions, the limits, is just that, a character. And if you can watch it, if you can step back and observe it, then you must be something else entirely. Something greater, something deeper. Like standing on the shore, watching the waves roll in, knowing you're not the wave, you're the ocean. And as you breathe in that realization, as you feel it settling into that space where doubt used to live, something inside you expands, because beyond the known, beyond the lines drawn by fear, is the place where creation happens, where inspiration lives, where something vast and limitless moves through you, as you. And you've felt this, haven't you? In those moments when time disappears, when thought fades, when something beyond words takes over and you just know. And it makes you wonder, if the mind fears dissolving, but you're not the mind, then what's there to fear? Because in that space, beyond thought, beyond the self you thought you were, there's only awareness. And awareness doesn't disappear, it expands. And the more you let yourself sink into that knowing, the more it becomes you. And isn't that interesting?